they have posted who's your San Juan, Puerto Rico MVP. And these are the candidates: Paige Bueckers, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, what? Ryan Howard. I can see Howard being in the mix here because her scoring has been lights out. Jackie Young, and then a bunch of other players down here. And all I can tell you is I don't know what happened because I went over.
Look at those numbers. That's not organic growth. That's not a fan base rallying behind their player. That's a voting system being gamed in real time, and FIBA just watched it happen. When Caitlin Clark was leading the FIBA San Juan MVP fan vote by 3,000 votes this morning, everything looked normal. 4 hours later, Paige Bueckers had surged past her with a margin that defies basic math. We're talking about 7,000 votes materializing in 5 minutes. So either Paige Bueckers has the most dedicated fan base in basketball history, or something else is happening here.
Her up right now. But this was a pretty wide margin when I was over there this morning and Caitlin was leading. I noticed one comment said that Paige had 7,000 votes come in 5 minutes or something like that. And it's raising a lot of questions. People are raising, hey, what is going on? Suspect allegedly buying.
The comment section tells the story FIBA doesn't want to acknowledge. Hundreds of people watching the vote totals change in real time, documenting the exact moment the numbers stopped making sense. 168,000 votes. 156,000. These aren't the voting patterns of human beings refreshing a web page. This is automation. This is coordinated. And the most damning part, FIBA included a disclaimer at the bottom of their poll. This fan vote is not an official statement from FIBA. Translation, we take no responsibility when this inevitably goes sideways.
15 or 20 to 1. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. So are we talking about bots? It's starting to look like bots are flooding the Paige Bueckers situation. Somebody pointed out there's no way a 3,000 vote gap is surpassed in 15 minutes unless bots are involved. I mean, what is going on here? Right here.
Here's what makes this particularly suspicious. Dallas Wings games this season weren't selling out consistently. The arena had empty seats visible on broadcast. Paige Bueckers is an incredible talent, but she's not driving the kind of mainstream attention that generates 168,000 votes in a fan poll for a FIBA qualifying tournament. Caitlin Clark is leading Team USA in points, assists, plus-minus, and efficiency during these games. She's been the best player on the court, and the eye test confirms what the statistics show. Yet somehow, the voting tells a completely different story.
I mean, FIBA, you need to take this down. Both bases are buying bot votes. They're accusing the Caitlin Clark fan base of buying bot votes. I just don't know that I get that. That I agree with that. This was 4 hours ago. You can see right there, Caitlin was leading, and then all hell broke loose. I mean, we're talking. Look at these amounts.
Now we need to talk about the pattern, because this isn't happening in isolation. The UConn fanbase has a reputation for being organized, passionate, and extremely online. That's not a criticism, that's a fact. But when people start mentioning a UConn mafia and a TikTok fandom bot army in the same conversation, we've crossed from enthusiastic support into something that needs scrutiny. Multiple users documented the vote swing happening in real time, posting screenshots showing Paige gaining thousands of votes within minutes while other candidates barely moved. That's not enthusiasm, that's infrastructure.
That's not legit. That's not legit, folks. That's a shame. You're talking about, and yeah, y'all need human verification and daily vote limits, gang, at FIBA. They're not going to go to that trouble, I don't believe. I mean, is there a way that they can get in there and find out if the votes are legit? If they've got a good IT team? Yes, absolutely. They can.
FIBA had options here: human verification daily vote limits, IP address tracking, basic security measures that any legitimate polling system implements to prevent manipulation. They chose none of those protections. Instead, they allowed unlimited voting from the same users, created a system with zero accountability, and then absolved themselves of responsibility with a disclaimer, so when the inevitable manipulation occurred, they could shrug and say, it's just a fan vote, it doesn't really matter. Except it does matter. Because this vote was public, it was promoted, and now it's creating a narrative that doesn't match reality on the court.
We're talking about somebody, let's just keep it real, that many Dallas Wings games did not sell out. I mean, there were times that arena was not actually sold out, not full. And we're supposed to buy this? We're supposed to believe this. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to choose to give this the fuzzy eyeball. To give this thing.
Think about what this means for Caitlin Clark. She's dominating this tournament statistically. She's been the most impactful player for Team USA through these qualifying games, and yet the public-facing narrative, the one FIBA is allowing to exist on their platform, suggests that Paige Bueckers deserves the MVP recognition instead. That perception matters. It influences media coverage, it shapes public opinion, and it creates talking points that persist long after the tournament ends. FIBA's negligence in securing this vote isn't just a technical failure, it's actively distorting the story of this tournament.
What's going on? People are talking about Paige Bueckers and some kind of TikTok fandom bot army that's happening right now. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know what that's about. But it does seem very, very suspicious. All right. Kind of like, hey, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona if you want to buy it.
Here's what we know for certain. The vote was leading decisively in one direction this morning. By afternoon, it had completely reversed, with voting patterns that multiple observers described as suspicious or impossible through organic means. Comments flooded in questioning the legitimacy. Screenshots documented the anomalies, and FIBA's response was silence, protected by their preemptive disclaimer that this poll means nothing anyway. So why run the poll at all? Why create a public voting system, promote it as part of the tournament experience, and then refuse to protect its integrity? The answer is simple: engagement. FIBA wanted the social media activity, the clicks, the appearance of fan involvement. They just didn't want the responsibility that comes with running a legitimate vote. And that's the part that should bother everyone, regardless of which player you support. Because if a voting system can be manipulated this easily, this publicly, with this little consequence, what does that say about the organization running it? FIBA is an international basketball federation with resources and expertise. They chose not to implement basic security measures. That's not an oversight, that's a decision. The UConn fanbase will argue their supporters are just more organized and motivated. Fine. Let's test that theory with a voting system that has actual safeguards. One vote per verified account, IP tracking to prevent bot farms, rate limiting to stop coordinated flooding. If Paige Bueckers genuinely has that kind of organic support, it will show up in a secure vote. But FIBA won't implement those measures because they know what would happen. The numbers would look completely different. Caitlin Clark's fans are understandably frustrated. They watched their candidate lead comfortably, then witnessed what appeared to be artificial inflation change the outcome in real time. They documented it, they reported it, and they were ignored. That breeds cynicism. It makes people distrust the process, distrust the organization, and question whether any of this is legitimate. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers gets associated with a controversy she didn't create and probably didn't want. Even if she wins this vote, it's tainted now. Everyone will remember the bot accusations, the suspicious vote swings, the comments questioning legitimacy. That's not fair to her either. She's an exceptional player who deserves recognition based on her actual performance, not inflated numbers from a compromised poll. This is what happens when organizations prioritize engagement over integrity. They create systems designed to generate activity without considering the consequences when those systems get exploited. And make no mistake, this system was exploited. Whether through bots, coordinated voting campaigns, or some other method, the outcome we're seeing doesn't reflect organic fan sentiment. It reflects who was better organized to game a vulnerable system. FIBA needs to either secure their voting systems or stop running public polls entirely. This middle ground where they promote a vote but disclaim responsibility for its accuracy helps nobody. It creates controversy, undermines legitimate player achievements, and makes the organization look either incompetent or complicit. Neither is a good look for an international sports federation. The broader question is why this keeps happening in women's basketball. Why do we keep seeing voting irregularities, suspicious patterns, and organized campaigns that distort public perception? Part of it is the passionate fan bases these players inspire. Part of it is the relatively small scale that makes manipulation easier. But a big part is organizations that refuse to implement proper safeguards because they want the engagement without the accountability. So here's where we are. Caitlin Clark is statistically the best player in this tournament. The eye test confirms it. Her teammates know it. Opposing coaches know it. But a compromised fan vote might tell a different story, and FIBA has already absolved themselves of any responsibility to correct it. That's not how you run a professional sports organization. That's not how you honor the athletes competing in your tournaments. And that's not how you build credibility with fans who are paying attention to these details. If you think this vote looks legitimate, explain the 7,000 vote swing in 5 minutes. Explain why the voting patterns don't match attendance patterns or media coverage. Explain why FIBA felt the need to include a disclaimer about not taking responsibility for their own poll. I'll wait, because from where I'm sitting, this looks exactly like what everyone's saying it is. A system that got gamed, an organization that doesn't care, and another example of the chaos that follows Caitlin Clark even when she's doing everything right on the court. Drop a comment with your take. Are these voting patterns legitimate, or are we watching bot farms decide MVP votes, and should FIBA just shut down fan voting entirely if they're not willing to secure it? Let me know. And if you want more coverage of what's actually happening in women's basketball beyond the manufactured narratives, hit subscribe, because this tournament isn't over, and something tells me this won't be the last controversy before it ends.